Should I stop the video?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I gotcha. I had a group of people pass by me over there when I was in front of the house, or not the house, but the building. They were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, I'm hunting for ghosts. I'm on a tour right now." And the girl's like, "What?" Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. What is it?
I'm just trying to listen to words.
Do you want to walk over there with me in a moment? I'm waiting for the group to leave.
That's kind of what I was doing, but I also want to walk right here.
I gotcha.
Asking me what the name of the ship was.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right. Hey.
Still about taps. I don't know if that's significant.
Like battle cry, like.
Yeah. Or spat backward, but it's spelled out in there.
Mm-hmm. Alright. I'll make my way back over. Anything? Anything? You gonna walk to the front with me real quick?
To the front?
Yeah. I was there a moment ago, but we can walk back. Or we just leave with his equipment. No, I'm just kidding. I wonder if they're gonna come over here though. That tour. You ready? I think that's enough. I would think. All right.
I don't know what the owl is all about. I like the word naked, though. I mean, we're talking about a woman with 4 different lovers. I mean, they were very sexual back in the early 1700s, especially if you weren't from America. Like, coming in Ireland and wherever else you came from. Like, they're very open about their sexuality. So, very interesting. What do you got on yours?
That was part of the
You get anything?
number 7.
You haven't got anything?
Do you know? Does that ring a bell at all?
Yes.
Oh.
What do you got on yours? Dude. Alright, I'm never giving those to dudes ever again. Never. So the teenagers and females. That's normally who I give them to. Because teenagers, that's all they do. They have earbuds in all the time.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Nick, have you heard anything on yours? Or did Lisa take it away from you?
No.
Oh yes, this I took away. I've definitely gotten more in this area than anything.
Lisa, did you hear anything on your spirit box at all? Nothing. I think that one's a super replacement.
Like a lot of radio.
Yeah. And then, again, that's what you're listening for. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if the DJs and song lyrics, if they say something weird, you write
Yeah,
it down.
the only thing that I clearly heard was 2200.
Numbers always have something attached to them.
And that was over closer to the gunpowder over there.
Interesting. All right. So did everybody get a chance to go visit the front of the Powder magazine and or the church where everybody wanted to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything else weird coming up on your word list? You got the word hurricane. I'm excited about that because there was some hurricane damage to the St. Philip's Church. I'm not surprised.
Angry hurricane.
Angry hurricane. Maybe the west, because these are the eastern and western halves of the cemetery. Maybe it's telling you to look at the western half for that evening. We had the name pop up that I don't know what it means. So here's why I'm excited about 79. So the number 7 itself shows up here in multiple ways. First off,
I
we're
have
here.
Padre.
Wow,
Like
Spanish
spelled-
father.
Mhm.
Wow, I'm going to be writing that one down. 7, Dr. Ladd, his birthday is July 7th, 7-7. So if we hear it twice, it's definitely relative to him. If we have the number 7 and like presidential or anything like that, John Calhoun, your 7th vice president, is buried along on the other side of this wall. So we'll get like his name and the number 7, kind of verifying that it's going to him. Or if we get something like the word French or Indian or anything like that, of something where the Powder magazine served in one of 7 different wars, it's definitely relative to that location. Again, the number 7, you have 79. So again, I still have my 7. The number 2200, I'm looking at just the number 22. So the number 22 is relative because Charles Pinckney, Eliza's husband, is buried across the street where you just were. Oftentimes we've been getting clues to either one of the Eliza wives. Eliza Lamb, his first wife, is also buried over there. But the number 22, he likes to talk about Lucas a lot because that was his love, like the love of his life. The first one was a wife, probably Zeta, because he was a politician. This one was out of love. She was born in 1722, and not to mention she was 22 when she married him, and he was 45. So again, I'm going to be looking for other clues wrapped around that number 22 to see if it's going to stick. kind of mentality. So it's a good first verifier. And the 79 is kind of a stretch. We also had the name Jim show up on the Ouija board. The first guy of Anne Bonny is James Bonny, right? Jim is short for James. Now, I do have to go in and see if Jim would be a relative nickname for the name James in the early 1700s. So I'm definitely going to dive into that. Just putting the context clues together about it. It is a great possibility, but I'm not going to confirm it yet. So it is in my notes to definitely dive in, and I have a lot of work history books that I can dive into to find out if it's true or not. Those are the things I'm excited about. So let's head over to the wall, and you guys can ask me a million more questions as I start collecting your devices, and we will kind of get this party wrapped up. You guys gave me a lot of really good little first clues, but I think we struggled with the red spirit boxes with the earbuds because that was my mistake giving it to two guys. So let's head over this way. That fought back so valiantly on their own. Anne and Mary go in front because, well, by the way, the judge already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight, so they're already gone 2 days prior. But Anne and Mary, they reveal their gender to the judge, trying to save themselves. He doesn't care. If they're female, they're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they shouted out to him because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in the Georgetown, Charleston area with all of his Irish money. And he bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2 because she never married Calico Jack or Mary. And it's guy number 4 because we're still going to count Mary. We don't know. Has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt, I know, but we don't know much about her after her pirate career, and a lot of that is rumor and speculation. Some say that she stayed right here in Charleston, others say she went up to Virginia. So take your pick on that one. As far as Mary Read goes, she died a year later, 1721, in that Jamaican jail, whenever pirates die from, and in Jamaican jail. So again, could have been scurvy, could have been anything else gross that you want to imagine, but most articles will tell you that it was just fever. I call bullshit on that. There was a whole lot of diseases going on down there at that point in time. So, 2 questions I left out for your spirit box work. I left out the names of Anne Bonny's parents, the father and the mistress, on purpose. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So if you want to ask those 2 questions, everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you guys want to over here. Again, a lot of this is pirate lore, and I tried to piece together as much as I possibly could to give you guys some factual data. Now, a couple spaces you can and should go to with your cameras. You can go to the front of the powder magazine if you like. Just don't interrupt the other tours. They're going to be gone in 2 or 3 minutes after they tell the history. So kind of take your time, and you don't want to just jump in there with the camera. The other thing you can do is you can go across the street this way to go see the sign of that cemetery that says there's no ghost here. So again, that's a hot spot, so you may have to wait your turn over there as well. Now, I will kind of keep you guys for 1 more minute. You guys have been very attentive, and I know you're all waiting to sprawl out because that's a long story. But last year in September, there's a reason why I give that heated warning at the top. I brought my team back here just like this to stay out of the way of the others. The kid next to me went white as a ghost, was about to drop like a wet noodle. I had to pick him up by his armpit before he hit his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We got him over to that wall where he could sit down, he was feeling better, and then told them the story I just told you. They didn't know anything about Anne Bonny. I spread everybody out with their devices, and they pull me aside and say, Nick, we are 2 transgender males. Meaning I had 2 females dressed as males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the story. And it made complete sense to us as to why one of them felt nauseous and faint the minute we walked into the area. They sat on that wall until the tour was over, because they had spirit boxes and they were doing their work over there. But there's a reason why I tell you guys these warnings. I can't explain all the shit that I see, but I do see a lot. So again, it's one of those pieces. I'm not here 7 nights a week, and I do my own investigations as well. So I can't always explain everything through science. It is one of those things that is very uncanny, and psychics and mediums normally don't make it. Just so you know, we get them high spikes over at the Pinky Mansion, they're dropped, I'm calling the paramedics, and I lose half of my team. So, but this is your last stop. Have fun with it. Don't pass out. That's the moral of the story, everybody. So Nick, with your device, you're not going to see a whole lot of numbers on your red screen. We've been asking lately, like with the REM pod, the motion sensor, what color is Anne Bonny's hair? And it's the only time I've ever gotten a direct red out of it in 2 different areas of this space. And at times the word red will show up somewhere else because she might not be as strong that night, doesn't want to come close to that, whoever's using it, but she'll give us the word red. If you're going to ask her what color her hair is, you have 2 communication devices. So definitely get that antenna out and make sure you're, turning that white button on in the back. Don't get too excited if you get numbers as you move closer to the street. Parking meters, 2 electrical poles. So again, don't get stoked. I expect like a 3 to 7 over there, so just kind of keep that in the back of your brains. But again, we're going to spread out. I'm going to head over to the wall and let you guys work. I'll start bouncing around with you guys in a few minutes. So go have some fun. This is your last hurrah. So, wow, you guys are really quiet. Normally I get, all right, let's go. You know, something. Yeah, right? We'll take that. Robyn says, go team. Let's do this. Is that reset button? We got it. Perfect. So what do you think? A lot different? I was asking Chris, even though I kept sort of name.
Hey, how are y'all?
Pretty good, you?
Good.
Trying to catch your ghost.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
the tour right now.
Hell yeah.
You be careful with ghosts.
Oh yeah.
This is where the Silent Witch Trials woman died.
Is that right?
Well, she actually died on the beach, but
Wait, what are you trying to capture?
We're ghost hunting right now.
Really?
No shit.
Can we join you?
Sorry.
I can be a ghost in the window.
Hey, I would have you do that, but.
we took a ghost here last night, and I'm trying to send in like what all we done.
Oh really? I gotcha. Cool.
Because they come in from Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's. That's what we're hoping for.
What was the last name?
Are you in like Netflix and shit?
No. This is I'm on a tour.
Oh.
We're doing this right now, so
How are you?
appreciate it. Hey, Grandma. Looking for the pirates? Ethan? Oh. real quick, you said it was that location right there across
Yeah,
the street?
it's across the street.
Where
Normally
the
you'll see-
gate is?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can poke the camera right in there.
Yeah, there's a group of people there. I was
There's
going to
always a
wait.
group there. That's why I say just kind of wait your turn.
Yeah. Is that a tour group?
Yeah. That's literally the surgery that when your dad's child.
Yeah.
I still can't get over everybody here is wearing denim. That blows my mind. I usually only have one example. So, are you wearing jeans at least?
Leggings.
Leggings, got it. So, a couple of things before we actually get started here. Did you guys hear anything, see anything? Okay. I always like to check in before and after we leave the space. So, we're going to see a lot of tours cutting through, which is why I bring us to the back. A couple of things that may have changed since you guys took your tour. When you guys get your data back tomorrow, you're also going to see a link to a field guide. So what I did with that is it kind of helps because not all of you got a spirit box, not all of you got the camera, that kind of thing. It actually walks you through with paranormal evidence that has been caught on the tours, what to look for, what to watch for, and how to listen to things. So again, click that field guide. That way you can learn more about the device that you didn't have, that you have the media for, if that makes sense. So when I designed it, it was kind of like I was getting a lot of questions. I even had ghost hunters coming on my tour from other teams going, what do I do with all this data? I'm like, well, shit, they don't even know. What the hell are the rest of my guests doing? So I created that field guide so that way you guys knew exactly what to look for. And there's a lot of paranormal evidence in there. So if you're curious on what was caught with the cameras or things that I've caught with disembodied voices on the red spirit box, there's examples on there just so you know how to listen to these things. So where the heck are we? We are at the Gunpowder Magazine. We are here. Well, first off, let me tell you that those are not crosses on that little building over there. That's the building we're going to be discussing, the real small part of the front. Those crosses are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, the gist of those is that they're turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, you can turn those turnbuckles, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. Great idea, it doesn't work. So the only reason I bring them up is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. You guys have been walking around the city, and they're on a lot of our buildings. It's just part of our Charleston charm. So even the apartment building behind it has earthquake bolts on this side and on the front side of it. So they're almost crisscrossing each other, just over top. But again, it's just part of the Charleston charm. It's just what we do here. So we do that because this building was the oldest government building we have in South Carolina. That's why we're here. This building is what I call a familiar. So Anne Bonny came here during the same time that this building was being constructed. So that's why we're here. It's the same principle of using a toy to attract a child ghost. We don't have many buildings this old, so this would be something she recognizes. So I guess first, did you guys notice all the other tours over there, by the way? Like all over St. Philip's Church. So you guys want to know why they're all over there? I mean, I can continue with pirates, or we can talk about what they're doing over there. All right, fair enough. I got to direct what the hell are they doing. Okay, so two sides of the cemetery. The side that they're looking at has a sign on it that says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. They don't want people like me with crazy cameras and gizmos and gadgets trying to recreate what actually occurred there. So here's what occurred. They're making it some big elaborate story, and I let them have it because it's their one show and tell. You guys show and tell is in your hands. So that's the difference. I let them have that little one over there. But I do like to talk about it because it is interesting on how it actually pops up. 1888, a young lady dies by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Now, Sue Howard Hardy's initials, which we talked about because you're ghost hunting, SHH. It's very cheesy, very campy, and I hate even telling you, but we get it all the time. It comes up all the time. So, Sue dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Very sad story. They make it this big elaborate piece. 1987, local photographers taking pictures of all of our cemeteries. He captures an apparition in a photograph. It is a very well-recognized apparition for ghost hunters like me that study this thing. So, the picture, he doesn't know what to do with it. It's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now. So he sends it to Kodak. I don't think I have to explain what Kodak is to this. That's kind of cool. I laugh. The teenagers have no idea. They all think it's a bear. Yeah. So Kodak doesn't know what to do with the photograph either. So what happens with the photograph is it's like gold for guys like me, but it is to females. Females that handle it, even in a digital format, are said to have the same symptoms like what we talked about at the beginning, the headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the stillborn child in the story. I'm not going to be the guy where somebody had a great honeymoon or vacation and 9 months later I cursed your family. So when I show you the photograph, don't touch the damn tablet. So again, the other tours, they'll just hand it around so they can show it to everybody. I'm like, yeah, stop doing it. Even if we do have something relevant to Sue Howard Hardy and the photograph is in the link that I have to prove and verify for you, it'll say warning cursed photo. So the females aren't opening it up on their phone by accident and then handling it, and all of a sudden you got a massive headache that you can't get rid of. So again, I take this very seriously, as I'm sure you guys have caught on to. Like, this is me 24/7. This is how I do it. Even at home, my wife makes fun of me. You do anything that's not ghosts or history? I'm like, nope. I was playing Assassin's Creed today because it's about Greek mythology. It's all about history. That's what I do. So the photograph, I'm going to go around the horn so everybody can kind of see it 2 by 2 because it is very interesting, and I got to zoom in for you. So this is the full photograph. This is your apparition. There's a woman crying over one grave. This is also another instance where the baby is probably buried with mom. So there's a full photograph. Your apparition right here. You can see where that was a weird thing. Everybody misses the baby basket. It's right next to it. And this is Sue's grave. I did go through the records trying to find more about this baby, and I can't find anything about the birth or the death of the child. So there's your full photo. Your apparition is a woman praying over her own grave with the baby basket next to her, and that is Sue's grave. So the weird thing is I'm guessing that the baby was buried with mom. It was born stillborn. You guys remember the photograph? Did I do this on your last tour? Because again, I don't always tell this story. So there's your apparition. She's praying on her own grave with the baby basket. So again, this is a pretty well-known apparition that when you look up apparitions, this will be in like your top 50. So back to pirates, right? Let's kind of get back to that. I think I'm going to need a drink of water. You guys have been very attentive and making me talk a lot, so I'm going to take a quick drink. I'm also going to take the bag off because that gives me a break from the bag. I get a little bit animated with pirates. It's a good time. I even have another video game I'm playing that's nothing but pirates. Damn, I can't get away from pirates. I want my vampire stories back. So, again, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. Not our government. So, our story begins right in the middle of it. 1708. Follow me, there's a lot of twists. Young lady named Anne Cormack moves here from Ireland. She's with her father and his mistress. The mistress turns out to be Anne's mother. Yeah, it's a twist. You got that one, Robyn? You're kind of looking like, okay. That's why I slowed down here. Now, the three of them are running away from his angry wife. How pissed off was she that she got to leave Ireland? Putting that out there. So they land at Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation in Georgetown to have a rice plantation, and Mom died pretty quickly after that, which means he has to send young Anne down here to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. So that's why we're here, building this familiar. Anne back home in Ireland is said to have been kind of a badass chick. When she was like 7, 8, 9 years old, they say she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. So again, just putting the mentality of this young lady as we go through her story. The building was finished in 1713. Fast forward, pirates are coming here in 1715. Anne is about 16 years old at this point, and she is stoked with pirates coming here because she's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. So she falls in love with guy number 1. We're going to keep tally. There's a handful. Lisa, go ahead and chuckle. It's funny. So guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonny. Wow, look at those lights across the street, everybody. Hurry up quick. You see him? You guys see the on her shoes? Like, seriously? Don't lose your tour guide. There's neons on her shoes. Wow. Okay. Taking... Sorry. Wow. So James Bonny is a filthy pirate. Dad didn't approve, obviously. So they elope to Jamaica and they get married. So obviously Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny, famous female pirate. Now this guy is not the Captain Jack Sparrow she was hoping for, right? Because that's what every young lady wants, is a Captain Jack Sparrow. This guy is a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. So she falls in love again a few years later. This guy is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the historical figure that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. And yes, he is the Captain Jack Sparrow she was hoping for. He does have his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? Bad luck, right. So, a lot of people think much dirtier things, so thank you for being clean. Appreciate that. So it is bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, then you could be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. We're all adults here. Well, first off, she was okay with the cross-dressing bit because Dad used to hide her as an apprentice boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his angry wife because she didn't know about her. So, again, she's okay. It's a man's world. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. Somebody's going to figure it out that she's a girl. So he drops her off in Cuba. We'll have the baby over here. They'll help you with the birthing and all of that stuff. And come back later, we'll figure it out. She has a child, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. No amount of research I found gives me any type of history on the child. The weird piece about this whole part of the story is that she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry, because now everybody's going to know that he let a girl on the crew. To make him even more mad, he captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. She's going to go flirting, because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3, in case you guys lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same pirate ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for sure. And the British find out where they are. They send an entire fleet of ships to come take down one little pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks, probably because they don't know how to use the cannons yet. And obviously 2 ladies are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. So they obviously get taken. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot. So at least let's move in a little bit further as he kind of goes to his jeep. And again, us out here with a bunch of cameras look suspicious. You look shady. So the judge, his name is Nick as well. So again, there's a couple of Nicks that are relative to this location. So when you guys hear my name, it could be somebody relative to me or this judge. He wants to
Remember? So.
I'm seeing I'm like jogging your memory a lot. Like I'm seeing like, oh yeah, I remember this. Did you get anything on there on the way?
Maybe ballpark, but I could be wrong.
Wow. I don't even think that's close to being relevant to our space.
Yeah.
Anybody else get anything?
Patch.
Hatch. Chris, nothing? Meat?
Meat.
As in meeting.
Meeting.
Okay.
M-E-E-T.
That would almost make sense here. We're going to find out why here in a second. I was going to be more excited about meat as in like a dead animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because this alley used to be, before the long time ago, it used to be called Cow Alley. It's because this is where they kept the livestock. Obviously, that they turned into meat. So I would have been more excited about that. We do get the word cow here quite often on your word list. So it does happen a lot. So welcome to Philadelphia Alley, everybody. It's kind of nice. There's nobody down here. Again, I lied to you again. We're going to see other tours, and again, we'll split the seas this way exactly. So when somebody's coming through, because everybody kind of picks their spot. But this place used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So we all talk about one specific duel because it actually happened and we can actually prove it, and there's a lot that goes into the keywords. So kind of listen in with this particular type of tale because of all the keywords. Here's how it goes. Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her money. So we got another tour coming through, it looks like. Maybe. Yeah, just a small group. But at any rate, so he comes down to Charleston, and the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a good start that he had here in Charleston. But somebody was walking by, and he saw what was going on because he knew the coachman was going to try to kill him. And that guy's name was Ralph Isaacs. And I stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I., even before we had the Ouija board device, actually we used to hear R.I. all the time, whether it was from the word list or on the regular red spirit boxes with the earbuds. Now that we have the Ouija board, we actually had R.I. show up here a few weeks ago, and I was stoked because it was consecutive. So it wasn't like I.R., it was R.I. I was pretty excited. But anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here, man. This guy's going to try to kill you. I know him. So I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be good to go. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor's staying here in Charleston, the more money he's making. His medical practice took off. So with that being said, Amanda's moving down soon. He's a very happy guy. He's proving his point. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. I'm going to tell you right now that every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. There's actually proof of this one. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But him and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He has better seats than Ralph. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They went to go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and the doctor thought that the new actress that was here was fantastic. Ralph didn't think so, so they start arguing. And then Ralph starts insulting Amanda, the doctor's fiancée, back home in Rhode Island. The two get pretty angry with each other, and they go their separate ways. Now Ralph, he knows people here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. He's a disgrace to society kind of mentality, right? Dr. Ladd sees the newspaper ad, and he decides he's going to rebuttal. with a let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this shit once and for all. He didn't say shit. It was 1786. So with that, they come down here, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. So that's often what happened at a duel, by the way. Not everybody ended with a death. But Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd drops to the ground. He didn't die right away. His friends pick him up, and they carried him home to 59 Church Street, which is about a mile from here. Once he gets there, he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember that this guy's a doctor, that he tried to probably bleed out the bullet himself. So the interesting part of this story, the campfire part of it, is as you walk through here, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Do you hear how quiet it is? It's always this quiet. This is a busy Saturday night. It's like this on a busy Saturday afternoon. So as you walk through here, turn on your voice recorders. Again, on your own, because I can't take you all the way through because I pissed off the neighbor at the end. I do have whistles you can't debunk, because I want you to keep in mind, if you're going to do this on your own, the locals know the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every night. So again, we're going to end up there, the garage is over there, so I pass the alley every night. So it's a matter of when my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. It's just a little game we play, especially since I've been booted out of here, which is why you're all curious and staring at me, waiting for me to tell that story. Bailey's like, yeah, let's hear how you got in trouble. So the alley didn't always go all the way through this way. So again, it held the livestock, so it was kind of cut off. So those bricks down there are older. They're sun-dried bricks from slave children, which you guys picked up. I read a lot of history. So I always like to show off some pieces of history that might not be ghost-related. And I would always show off the one brick in it with a handprint from a slave child. Because we all need to see it to show how far we've come. It's a big deal. I'm not uncomfortable talking about slavery, even in mixed company. It doesn't bother me at all. However, everybody wants to stop and get a reading from that damn brick. I treat the brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not staring at the damn brick in the afterlife. There's also fingerprint swipes off to the left in those bricks. If you look really close, they are there. So one night, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 decide they're going to huddle around one brick and try to get a reading from the EMF meter or a spirit box. I'm trying to hurry them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. The gentleman saw us, who owns the mansion, come out screaming. Daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, many of those years being for Walmart. I'm sure most of you can understand why I'm never, ever, ever going to work another Thanksgiving in my life. So I took that day off, but I got a phone call on the 28th. It was the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. I didn't think it was fair for my groups of 10 to try to investigate around 20 to 60 other people that are normally here. So I decided I'm going to reroute the group. I did not tell them a whole lot about what we were going to be discussing, just that I didn't believe in the story, that I kind of got pushed out of this alley. We didn't have that much equipment, by the way, so I could wing it. Tickets were much cheaper. So, but at the same token, before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. So I did not tell them we were going to be discussing the famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I'm like, all right, maybe there is something that's going to actually go on. When we get down there and I told the little bit I did know about piracy, somebody else hears the number 300. And I didn't know what 300 meant until I started doing the research in their data the next day. We were there. Oh, come on through, ladies. You're good.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Thank you.
Come on through.
Pardon? Have a good evening.
Perfect night for a walk, isn't it?
Oh, so it is.
Gorgeous out there.
Like coffee.
So we were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I keep taking you guys back up there. And I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. So if I read more damn books on piracy than I ever wanted to in my entire lifetime, trying to piece together a factual piece of the tour based on pirate lore. Everything I'm going to tell you at the next space is based out of at least 2 resources to make sure that it has some type of truth to it. So when we get up there, we may get some things, we might not get anything. It's a matter of like, we're going to get a lot or nothing. That's the kind of space that we're going to be in. But it's going to be a very popular area. I don't even know what time it is because I don't track things, but we may run into those other bigger tours. We're just going to find our space and get out of their way. Even when we spread out, we're just not going to interrupt the other tours with our video cameras and that kind of thing. So if you want to continue recording as we move into the next space, you can do that. It's about 1 block away. Did we hear anything, see anything going on with your devices before we move on? You guys have been really quiet in this space, like enjoying the whistle apparently. We've also, since your tour actually, starting over the summer, we started noticing on the Red Spirit Box recording that we've been getting songs with specific whistles in it. So even last night, I went through their data, and at the very end of the recording, I had a right at the end, right before it cut off. So it's kind of like it was an actual whistle coming through, either from a DJ. It wasn't a song, but we will get songs like moves like Jagger that has the whistling in it. Guns N' Roses Patience, that'll come through while we're in here. Again, it's a very specific thing that we hear just whistling while we're in talking about the whistling doctor. So it's very weird and specific, but I'm sure you heard all the keywords in there. So 59, the address that he lived in, obviously his name. So we'll hear Brown-Eyed Girl in here a lot. It's because we need the word Brown from Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. We get the name Joseph, and we will get bleed over from this story over into the next location, just so you know. At Pinckney Mansion site, we may have some bleed over from Big John's. We are still relatively close. The ghosts aren't just going to hang out and say, oh, this is my square, this is it. So again, you're going to see, we're going to get clues from this story over there as well. Nothing else crazy is coming out of things? Nothing? So Nick, you can definitely turn that thing up on the way there, but of course when we start talking about your spirit box, the one with the ball speaker on it. At least we'll show you how to turn it up. And then Robyn, you can turn yours up while we're walking too. The other tours might be looking at you a little jealous because you're listening to static and they're not. So just kind of keep that in mind. We do have those crazy, devices that they're like, oh, what are they doing? Like, yeah, you pay $10 a ticket to listen to somebody. Help you out? Got it? It should pop up in a minute. Hearing on your stuff. What do you got on yours, Chris? Anything?
Heard anything coming down through here yet?
Tina, what was on yours? Anything coming through?
Nothing that.
Okay, Allison? I don't have her yours down, but.
Excited, wrong, and we'll just take a walk.
Okay. Obviously, Lisa and I were chatting, so she didn't really get a chance to listen to that. Robyn, what about you?
I think green.
Wow, you're getting like actually good stuff. I'm gonna explain that in a second. Brian, what do you got here? Nothing? You didn't hear anything the whole way down here? Okay. Alright, so welcome to Lodge Alley, everybody. This is a weird space. We're not gonna spend a lot of time here. It is a quiet space, so I appreciate you guys muting those. It's a pretty big deal. You can film, obviously, so you got yours up and running. I see the blinker good. And by the way, feel free among your party to go ahead and switch up your devices if you want. Try something different. Again, I want you guys to experience different things. You guys have a party of 4. If you feel like mixing it up, mix it up. You guys have, obviously worked with some of my equipment in the past, but if you want to switch with something, in your party, feel free to do so. I actually encourage that, so we get a gist of it. Nick's obviously got the XP7 now, so he's got 2 devices. But this place, when you cross that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Mall used to be. This is one of the first streets we ever had, which is why I like to bring you down here, and there's no other tours. So, you guys are, I'm sure, picking up. I don't like to go where the other tours like to go. So, but the reason why I asked you guys for names specifically is because you guys usually spout off the same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks. Those 2 names are Benjamin and John. Now, normally it's along the way here. You heard it all the way back at the Pinckney Mansion site pretty early on. So again, I'm not going to count it just yet until I have something else specific about them. The name Green also looks like a last name to me. I don't know if it's on that list or not. And don't be too impressed, guys, with this list. It's not lengthy at all. Only 2 to 5 people live down here at a time. But Benjamin and John specifically lived down here in 1801. I don't have anything else specific about these 2 gentlemen other than John's last name will pop up because there were 4 different Johns that lived down here in a 60-year time span. John's last name and his mother was evil, by the way. She named him John Johnson. Yeah, pretty awful. And there wasn't Alexander that lived down here. And then there's another one that's kind of like Andrew Anderson or something along those lines, like nothing, something else that's really close. But John Johnson and Benjamin Hopkins were the 2 gentlemen that lived down here. It's 2 out of 5 people every 6 to 7 weeks. Here's why that's happening. The bricks you're standing on, they've been here since 1739 that we know of. The historians can't even get it right because we're not even sure they're that old. The whole point of why I'm telling you this is because these are made of granite. That's a natural stone from the earth. Hey, how are you doing? Good. So granite is, because it's natural, can be part of the stone tape theory, which basically states that any kind of natural element, like a stone that's been in the same place for hundreds of years, like these, can hang on to the memories of the things that occurred here. So basically, we're working with a residual ghost that's being attached because of the bricks that are here. The 2 buildings we're leaned up against weren't here. Little tiny shotgun houses. Now, the other piece about the granite is it's not supposed to hold any EMF charge at all. I would expect something up to 1.1 because that's natural from the earth. But Nick, I want you to pick any brick and just lay that millimeter on any brick that you choose and let me know if you get a reading out of it. Like any dry brick, go ahead and lay it down. See if we get. Oh, go ahead and put the whole thing on the ground. There you go. I saw 3. Now we're down to pretty much nothing, huh? I saw 3, so definitely take note of that. And I've seen it go all the way up to 15 on certain nights. So, excuse me. Oh, you're good. How are you? Pretty good. So as we get closer to that 6 to 7 weeks in that loop, like right now we're in week 5. So I wasn't really expecting Benjamin and John to come out of it, but sometimes it starts to trickle through. I haven't been able to really pinpoint it, which is why I started gauging moon phases and seeing if that's what's actually occurring here. But again, the stone tape theory is very interesting, but hasn't been fully proven yet. So again, with the amount of data that I can collect, with all of the tours that I do every single night, hopefully I'll be able to find where that loop is coming from and find out more about these people. Before the people lived here, residents, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. So that's where it gets its name from. We will get terms relative to the Freemasons. What's funny is the red spirit boxes with the earbuds. As you guys turn the corner, before we even start talking, we'll hear the word Illuminati. I don't know who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio, but again, I only hear it while we're in this space. 6 times last year, 3 times this year. So again, I've proven verified every one of them because everybody laughs when they come into the set. You heard the word Illuminati. Gosh, yeah, here it goes. So, but we also have the terms founding fathers, symbols, Mason, bricks, anything relative to the Freemasons. So we will get a lot of things wrapped around that. Again, it just kind of occurs randomly. It's not part of the loop that I can see. So again, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but the next alley we're going to go to, I've been kicked out of it, and I probably took you guys on the outskirts of it, right? So I've actually been sneaking in a little bit right there on the edge. So when we leave this, alley, we're actually going to, that girls with heels, this ought to be good. So make sure we're filming, Bailey. But I had a good one a couple weeks ago. I had some drunken bachelorette come through, literally tripped, went upside down in a garbage can, legs in the air. We had the whole thing on film, which was great. So it's the highlight of our night. I know, I could be a mean bastard sometimes, but it was funny. I didn't know that the person was secretly filming that either. So it was like when I went through the data, I'm like, oh, this is good. So I put it in their markers. I was like, you have to check this out. Hi, ladies. Careful, these bricks get worse as you keep going.
Yeah, we know.
Thank you.
So, the next alley, I don't take you all the way through it like this one because I have been kicked out of it. You guys have all the blinky lights and noisemakers. So, again, it's residential at the end. And yes, I'll tell you how I got kicked out because that's the fun part of the whole story. But I definitely want you guys listening in on your spirit boxes. As we exit the alley, go ahead and stop your video. So when we get to the end, we'll start your videos again once we get into the next one. Just be mindful that there's going to be other tours in that alley because it is a staple for Charleston ghost tours, just so you know. However, we're going to talk about it a little differently because you're ghost hunting. You're not actually sitting around a campfire listening to ghost stories. Allison, what do you got on your word list? Anything crazy before we leave?
Continent, west, counterpart.
Counterpart in west.
Tone. That's a new one.
Interesting. Very interesting. Only because we're still close to the cemetery that's split in half as an east and a west. So, it's a possibility. Any crazy letters coming up for you? Nothing? As Ryan and Chris, have you guys been listening to anything? Nothing yet. Nothing yet. So what's funny is I normally give those 2 earbud ones to females, and like I was like, oh, let me try 2 guys tonight, and you guys have been giving me squat. So
I'll
I
try
stick with
harder.
the female feed. I really mixed it up tonight as far as who gets what. So this is like I was like, oh, let me
They
experiment.
hear what they want to hear.
We'll see what happens when I start going through the recording that Ryan has. So, and I have been finding that even on a lighter night like this, because again, we have some cool things from the Pinky Mansion, nothing where I'm like, oh my god, we definitely added those. It's a matter of like, when I'm going through it, I'm realizing with the scoring system I'm doing now, I'm finding a lot more that you guys are just missing in real time because you've never done this. So that's the whole point. Like, you're getting used to your devices at this point, and at the next 2 stops, which we only have 2 left, but the last spot we're going to go to is we're going to spread out quite a bit. I was explaining to Lisa, it's going to be a little bit more fuller than what we did at the Pinky Mansion site, because I actually let you guys explore a little bit more. Alright, so, the millimeter is probably not going to give us much in the next alley, but if it does, I definitely want to know what numbers are seeing. So,
When do you want me to turn this on?
you can unmute it as we're walking through, but once we start talking again, go ahead and mute it back up. So if you hear something, yeah, definitely let us know.
Any other words that it said, go you press that.
I asked it what its name was.
Lily. That could be a last name. And then to go back to it, you press that back button.
Is
Just,
your last name Lily or
Ju-
your first name?
just in case you miss it. Her first name is Eliza.
Is it Eliza?
Both of them.
Lily?
It was bad. The Dale asked me to slow down because I thought you back. Well, dang it. Alright, let me follow up with Allison. Allison, you got any words coming up? Nick, you got anything? Colors?
your children's name Lily?
That could be.
Child named Lily?
That could be.
Yeah, kind of stuck out.
Quick question.
Yes.
I noticed that the timer has reset several times.
So, little schooling on GoPros,
Okay.
they make giant film files.
Okay.
So, those files are about 4 gigabytes
so
a
they're
piece.
limited to like 10 minutes a piece or
Right,
something?
right.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I was curious about it because I noticed it got to 10 and then reset.
10 minutes
so.
and 44 seconds makes a 4 gigabyte file.
Okay.
So when I splice all these together, it takes an overnight process. So when I
Okay.
get home,
I
that's the
gotcha.
first thing I plug in. It goes to a separate computer just so that's the only thing it does. And the
Uh-huh.
laptop splices them all together. Then I upload it to YouTube in the morning, which only takes 10 minutes.
Okay.
So that's the process that I
Right.
go through
Okay.
with this.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, because it's not. I don't have it set up to do it that way. It does it automatically.
Oh, okay.
There's no way to change it.
Okay.
And you're going to even see with your camera. I've tried putting them in order. It puts them in reverse order. So with the thermal, it's the
Right.
exact opposite. I can set that one up to go in sequential order of where
Right.
we've been. So
Okay.
you're going to see the two differences on the videos.
Mhm.
I've tried a million ways from Sunday to reset that guy. Can't do
I
it.
gotcha. Okay. Cool.
But at least you get all the footage, it's
Right.
just in a wrong order.
Right. Of course.
So, all right, I'm going to start yanking everybody back. So,
I gotcha.
Head back that way.
All right.
All right, guys, let's head back to the corner. Robyn, you got anything else? 35. Did you? 35. Ryan, do you get anything else out of yours? I did not. Okay. Any other colors and numbers, Nick?
Just what I rounded off earlier.
Okay. Any scrambles?
The only thing I have is Tuesday, kind of like Tuesday, but not spelled out all the way.
Yeah.
But
So kind of like an anagram of Tuesday, like TSDY or something along.
TUE and then SD was kind of in that.
Okay.
But,
In the vicinity of it. Interesting.
but TUE was together.
Interesting.
And then I had high, but I don't know.
That's not going to be a term from the 1700s.
Something.
Yeah. That's more of a. What do you got going on with yours, Allison?
I have a name, Lily.
Lily, I also look at as a flower. You have to remember that Eliza was a botanist. So Lily is definitely a flower. Do I know if it's something specific that she would have planted? I don't, but we do get a lot of gardening terms around here. So that's pretty significant, just in the fact that it is a botany term. So hopefully something else comes up like dig, plants, flowers, anything that's going to be relative to it. Those of you with video cameras, if you want to go ahead and stop them, give your hands a break as well. So let's get some footage in here, and that way you can have the footage of how the REM pod works. All right, guys, spread out. Go have fun. I'll be with everybody in just a few minutes. Okay.
Kind of sticky feedback.
Remember the question? I wasn't listening to yours.
What? Ask your questions. gotta ask the questions. You gotta ask the questions.
About?
Yeah, you have to. You need to ask the questions that he said to ask. What were the children's names? How many?
What were your children's names?
Yep. And then listen for anything. I'm just trying to go in between both you and Mom.
Eliza, are you out here? Can you hear me? Hello? It's over there, too.
Any words?
Oh yeah. Why and where.
Let's see if there's any others that popped up in between. Cry, do not, rare, copy, deliberately. Okay.
Did ask me. The last names were the same, right?
He said the last names were two different names, but they have the same letter.
Letter.
They both start with L.
Well, yeah, I asked him. And that's what popped up.
Yeah. You kind of have to continuously ask.
Fable.
Fable. Okay.
How was it made?
Alright, what's going on with you? What are you getting out of that thing, man? Or injury? Injury? Whenever you get like a full list and you can kind of determine like nothing's in there, you can reset it to clear your list. So turn this dial up here, down to 6 o'clock, counterclockwise. Yep. Go up.
Grandma. Remember, yeah, try to keep the questions that you know the answer to already. Like you said, it's going to throw up random stuff all the time, but you're trying to keep the questions relative to the topic.
Asked him what he did.
Occupation, but we don't know the occupation, do we? I don't think that's right.
Alright, so who has the other question? Allison. Yeah. So it's kind of like you come a little bit more. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Anything? Anything of value?
I take it you've handled a GoPro in the past?
No, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you got that grip. That's the only reason why I asked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You got that.
It just felt natural.
There's a handle like below your hand. Like this heavy piece right here.
Uh-huh.
That's meant to be the handle down
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah. So, yep, right there.
Okay.
That's where. But again, you have that grip like you've been doing this a while. And you know to keep it steady.
I don't know. It felt natural to me.
Is it all okay?
Younger than 15?
Let me show you something with that real quick.
For compliant. Wow. Okay. All right. I guess I get to lie to you guys a little bit because you're buying everything. That's cool. Awesome. Let's head up this way.
see the rocket come over Charleston today? Launched from Florida. I saw it on my way down here. I didn't know if anybody got a
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That was the rocket.
It was the rocket.
Got a picture of it.
Yeah,
That was
Florida.
cool.
I didn't know what was going on.
We were kind of wondering what that was.
I've seen people like pulling off to the side of the freeway, and they're all like this. I'm
Right.
like, what are they looking at? I'm like, whoa, what is that? So of course, when I get down here, I'm like, what? Was there a rocket launch
Yeah,
today?
it was kind of hard to tell.
Yeah,
Kind of
but
like
I mean, I'm sure it was a few thousand feet in the air.
Oh, yeah.
You know, by that point. But I looked it up, and it was already a million Facebook posts about it, and all kinds of newscasts. I'm like, all right, I guess it was a rocket.
Cool.
So I sent it to my father-in-law because he's obsessed with what I do down here. When he's down here in town, like he goes on every single tour. So he just wants to use a different device every time he's down here. He's like my biggest fan. But I texted him. I'm like, check this out. I just saw this on my way to work. He said, maybe the ghost will come. Maybe they're on the rocket. So, but anyway, so welcome to the Big Red Barn. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. This is kind of more of a Q&A, so that way we can actually get started. Billy, go ahead and stop your video. Let's kind of give it a pretty good amount of time. And I'll kind of do some starts and stops with this guy as well. Just because we don't want to be walking in between spaces. It's pointless. So Bailey, I think I'm going to go with you on this one. So this one is a lot of fun. So nice slow movements with that guy as well. And we're already recording. I'll kind of give you the cue of when to stop. The stop button is going to be on top of the camera all the way to the right. It's a circle. So I'll kind of help you out with that one. We're going to get to that portion. Okay. Spirit boxes. We're going to be using a lot of spirit boxes and communication devices tonight. I want to say there's a total of 7 different communication devices that I use now. But this one in particular, this is kind of like the white noise you would see on your TV shows, and then Zach Bagans tells you the bullshit he thinks he heard, trying to convince you of the same thing. Yeah, that's what this guy is. So we're not going to be using their method. We're going with beginner methods because most of you have never touched this stuff before in your life. And none of you are trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours at a time. So somebody's going to fall asleep with the amount of history that I give out. So with this guy, the person using it is probably going to go to Ryan. So I think this one's going to go to you. You have like this big wide eye. Like, what the hell's a spirit box? So you're going to have an earbud in. So you're going to be the only one to hear it in real time. However, this guy is recording. So you're going to get the full recording back tomorrow morning. You can play with the volume all you want. It doesn't mess up the recording. It records even Steven. But I'll be writing down everything that you hear in real time, plus my spot check. So we're going to have a lot of going on with this when you guys get this recording back. So it's already recording. I don't want earbuds back because earwax is gross. You get to keep those. Your volume button is the wheel at the top. I'm just making sure it's turned all the way down. We're going to be using 2 of these. This one's not going to record. So Chris, I don't think you had a chance to really use one of these last time. So I'm going to hand you this one. But it's not going to record, so I'm going to have to rely on you and what you hear in real time so I can write it down. Yep. So again, just making sure it's turned all the way down. You get the gist with the earbuds. Those are yours. Let's see. This guy is a staple for my tours, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. Don't want to do a scheduled install right now, sorry. So this guy is going to replace an obelisk of what you would normally see on television. So the obelisk has about 2,048 terms in it. This has over 9,000 terms in it. So it is sweeping through the FM frequencies the same way the other spirit boxes are, and if it recognizes a term, it'll put it up on the screen. So this one's nice and easy to use, but the cool thing is that it saves all of the terms and phrases to a list. We'll be able to scroll through that list with the timestamp, so that way I know exactly where we were, and I can line it up with whatever else is going on with the other spirit boxes in my notes. So I'm going to clear out the last tour. They had 98 terms last night. That's a whole lot of terms.
What does that mean?
So this is a phone app that's generating words that it recognizes from the radio.
Oh.
80% of this, just so everybody knows, is going to be bullshit. It's not going to mean anything. It's the other 5 to 20% that's going to be relevant to our space. So whether it's a person attached to that location, something about the location itself, or even something going on with one of you guys. That happens sometimes too. So Allison, I think I'm going to go with you on this one. I don't want to see every word that pops up. I'll come to you when I want to see the word list. Let's see. I definitely want to use this guy because you guys haven't seen it yet. So, this is a new communication device. It literally was just designed about 4 or 5 months ago. I've had it for maybe a month and a half now. What we're dealing with here is basically a digital Ouija board. So in a sense, there are letters on the screen and a cursor moving across those letters. with every type of EMF spike that we're going to have, which I'm going to explain more what an EMF spike is, it's going to stop the cursor on that letter and save the letters to the list on the bottom row. So what we're looking for in here are initials, words being spelled out, any kind of anagram that I might be able to unscramble. Again, we're teaching the ghosts how to use this guy, so this one is brand new to the market. You'll probably start seeing this on your TV shows starting next season. So again, this is brand new to the market. I had to have it, but I always wait for this company to get through their first batch because they're always faulty. Luckily, I went through the second batch, and this has been working really well, and it hasn't captured a ton of evidence yet, but again, we're teaching the ghosts on how to actually use this guy because it's very unique. So, Tina, that one's going to go to you, dear. You guys have all kinds of communication going on. So again, that was kind of the whole goal for you guys. Let's see, what do we want to go into next? Nick, you seem very technical, sir. Like you need some answers, which is good. It's been very focused this whole time, everybody, just so you guys know. I keep an eye on all of you. Now, normally you guys would see, where is it? In my handy dandy bag, one of these guys on TV, right? So yeah, these I normally hand to the little tykes when we're like fully packed. So again, we're not going to be using that guy tonight because this guy is way more accurate. This is called a millimeter. So this is going to measure any electricity inside the air. So cell phones, wiring, buildings, parking meters. I'll be debunking a lot of things with this. Anything on the top numbers that is 2.5 and higher, I want to know what's going on. We're going to try to debunk a few things. I didn't give you guys a communication device. That's okay. I'm going to get you one of those too. So the bottom number is ambient temperature. So if Lisa finds something on her camera, you and I are going to be able to debunk it or prove it pretty quickly with the ambient thermometer right here. The last piece that this guy has is it has a REM pod in it. So it's a motion sensor. Anything gets close to the antenna, it's gonna go off. So the closer it gets, I'm not touching it right now. Obviously different tones, and Nick, there's different colors in there. You and I are gonna talk about that at the second stop when we first start using it. But for now, just kind of get used to how those numbers move around for us. All right, you already have that guy. So So, Robyn, your spirit box works completely different than everybody else's. So, with yours, it is going to sweep through both the FM and AM radio stations at the same time and try to take out the white noise that Ryan's hearing and only give you words. So, again, what you're listening for are those song lyrics and DJs and those kind of things that are going to be popping through. And again, whatever you can make out is what we want to know that you've heard. Now, the interesting thing about your devices is it's only going to give us about 10 to 12 terms that we can actually recognize throughout the entire night. So, with that said, we never know when they're going to actually pop up, and the only thing you need to worry about is how to unmute it. So the blinking lights right now, that's the top. On your right-hand side, there's going to be a mute button. It's the only button there. It is muted right now because we're going to be near ponies soon, and I don't like to spook the horses. So again, with yours, it gets very interesting because this one is probably our most accurate spirit box, but it doesn't give nearly as much as the one, say, Ryan has. He's going to be giving me a whole conglomerate of stuff because of things that he's hearing. So with yours, you're not going to give me a whole lot, but it's going to be very accurate, just so you know. So that one goes to you. Everybody's geared up, right?
Yep.
All right. Nick's in charge. Go have fun. No fun.
Let's go.
He's on it.
Cool.
Like, we're up.
So will you tell me when to take it off?
Oh yeah, I'm really good with cues. You're gonna find that out with the cameras and unmuting and all of that good stuff. So thanks for making the bag a whole hell of a lot lighter. That's appreciated. Wow, you guys are like super focused. This is cool. So it's either super focused or I'm boring you already. So it's one or the other.
Super focused, yes.
I know, I talk a lot. You guys are gonna find that out. 2 of you already know that, so you're gonna have to shut me up every once in a while, just so you know. There's a reason why we start here. So, Big John's behind me. Of course, the place is haunted. That's why we're here. And there's a heated warning that goes along with it. This place was owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location or a space, I'm always going to slow down on specific keywords. We have a lot of communication devices out here. You guys need to know what you're listening for. Those keywords here would be 47, New York, Giants, anything relative to a bar, and the name John. Of course, it's going to start getting loud now when all the traffic wants to go by. So, here's why the place is haunted. Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender of the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in. They're not old enough to drink. John has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off. They came back the next night and tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on. He slammed down his beer, and he gets up and just beats the hell out of these guys, just pounding them into the floor. a couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet landed behind him in the wall. He gets up after being the only one that's been shot. He goes back to the bar, and he tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you a building's haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that occurred here. It's not the case. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. If the new renovation of Big John's actually filled it in, that means they sealed Big John's blood inside the building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. We are seeking paranormal activity tonight, and I don't know how it's going to affect any of you in the event we do find it.
I'm actually going to be tonight.
Queasy now? Did you go to Big John's?
So
You are. So, with all of those things being said, I always want to know when you guys aren't feeling well, especially with those similar types of symptoms of the headache, nausea, dizziness, so that way we can move the whole group and get that person to safety, especially and we're always going to blame things on something else. Not everything is going to be paranormal, because I am not Zach Bagans. I think I've mentioned that twice now. So, again, I'm not going to push you into a dark corner and say, let me know what happens. So, again, we're going to stick together as a group, spread out a little bit, but you'll always be with somebody. Kind of keep that in mind. Let's talk about something else, because some of you are looking at me like, oh my God, what the hell did we just sign up for? Anybody take any other historical tours in Charleston? Today, yesterday, nothing? I'm literally...
did Magnolia Plantation today.
Did they talk about the big earthquake of 1886?
Briefly.
Yeah, everybody does, because it was a big one for us.
Yeah.
It's weird because we're in South Carolina, we're supposed to get hurricanes, not earthquakes. This building, Big John's, is allegedly where the first death occurred from the earthquake. Again, we're not supposed to have them, but the white mantle you see goes around the front of the building as well. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. Somebody said that they can see the ghosts and shadows of them in the middle of the night outside of, right here on East Bay Street, and that was the previous owner of this building. I used to chat with him before it was Big John's again. So, again, take that for what it's worth, because I don't have any proof of any of it. It's just a good segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, even though Tina's already feeling a little nauseous, we're going to get moving. So, we are going to go up this street. Any major concerns right now that you have devices in your hand? Anything I can answer for you before we get moving?